This is Heglija village in West Darfur. I've come with the African Union peacekeepers to investigate reports of a militia attack a week ago by the feared Janjaweed militia. There appears to be no one here. We've been told that most of the 10,000 people who live in this area have fled the short distance across the border into Chad. After 10 minutes, a few men appeared, and then a woman. They'd stayed in Heglija after the attack to take care of the few animals that hadn't been looted. The villagers told us that about 500 men on horse and camel had come at dawn. They kicked their way into huts, stealing everything they found and killing indiscriminately.
They came in and were shooting at us. They said, "We are the Sudanese government. We have been sent by President Omar al-Bashir."
They told us that at least 20 people had been killed in Heglija and took us the short distance to some of the new graves. There are 12 bodies buried in this area from last week's attacks. 5 of them are children. This grave here has got 2 3-year-old girls in it. That one there, 2 boys, aged 7 and 9. We drove on the short distance to the neighbouring village of Hashaba. There we were confronted with more evidence of the attack, and particularly the killing of young children. When the militia called at Mariam's mud hut, they grabbed her 3-year-old son Adam. He was thrown down on the dusty floor and shot with a machine gun. She says her heart is broken and can't talk, so her brother explains what's happened. The little boy tried to run away, he said, but was grabbed and shot. The militia said they would be back to kill her baby.
This
is something that is planned. They want to kill all the black people. This is something that is known. The United Nations knows this.
In all, 4 villages were attacked. 60 people are thought to have been killed, half of them children. All of these villages are of the non-Arab Misriya tribe. The people here have been attacked for a reason. Behind me in the distance you can see the Jebel Moon mountain range. It's a rebel stronghold. It appears that the militia are trying to clear villages in the area and deprive the rebels of support. We headed back to the nearby African Union base at Kulbus. On the way we saw 2 Sudanese military camps, but they wouldn't let us film them. They'd done nothing to protect the civilians. The African Union peacekeepers have about 200 men here. They were told by the government of Sudan that the clashes were in Chad, and so did nothing to protect the people. Having seen the devastation in Jebel Moon, I flew the short journey north to the town of Tinea. This is the Chad-Sudan border. I'm here in Sudan. Across there on that hillside is Chad. It's an extremely tense area. The border is closed, and there's lots of armed groups present on both sides. A proxy war is being fought between Chad and Sudan. Both countries are hosting and backing each other's rebel movements. On the outskirts of Tinea, Sudan, we come across Abdul Nasir Harun, a herder boy. He used to live in the town, but now he won't enter. He comes here to graze his sheep, but goes across the border into Chad at night. He says the Janjaweed are everywhere here. Everyone's gone to Chad because they're simply too scared to live in Tinea. We needed an armed African Union convoy to drive into Tinea. It's a ghost town. Buildings have been destroyed and all of the people who lived here have fled. 2 weeks ago, the militia came to town and took up residence in the market. This may not look like the classic image of the Janjaweed as men on horse and camelback, but it's clear that's what they are. The government claims they're part of a new border defense force, but they don't have the same discipline or uniform as the Sudanese army. They're the Janjaweed, responsible for Darfur's worst atrocities, killing at least 100,000 and displacing over 2 million. They didn't like us filming them. Less than a mile away, the AU have no doubt that these men are the Janjaweed.
Here in Tinea it's very clear. It's very clear due to the fact that the Janjaweeds, they are working hand in hand with the government of Sudan troops who are stationed here. Of course, when we tried to get more details from the local commander of the government of Sudan troops, he told us that he has no control over these troops. But practically on the ground, we can see they are working hand in hand.
Attempts to replace the AU with a tougher United Nations force to defend the population are being blocked by Khartoum. The government of Sudan says it would be an insult to its sovereignty and that they want the struggling African Union to stay.
If we can have that robust force, which is well equipped, I feel maybe we can achieve something. But the African Union, the way it is, we can stay here for the next 20 years. I don't think we'll achieve anything.
Sudan's government says the Janjaweed are bandits. According to an agreement signed in May, they should be disarming the militia. The opposite appears to be taking place. All along the border with Chad, the militia are being mobilized. As Mariam mourns the death of her 3-year-old son, she knows the militia will be back, and it's unlikely the African Union will be there to protect her. Under attack and alone, the outlook for her and Darfur's people is as bleak as it has ever been.